I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
I'm not even supposed to be here today! Oh, fuck you!
Come on, you want me to drive? You're supposed to be suicidal. Remember, I'll
Anybody
drive.
a drive?
Get in the car.
Fuck me in the ass. Fuck you, you fucking stupid cunt.
A prime example of a pathetic, dumb piece of shit movie that maybe the franchise ain't the greatest. Yeah, it's not one of my favorite franchises, but I can have some fun with some of the films, like the first and the third ones. And the second one is a fan favorite with some people. But here's the first example of when everybody has the same opinion on this movie. There is not a single fucking person that ever will say they like this. No. Literally every single person, whether they love or hate the series, all agree this one is by far the worst. And that's why Fuck you. You're a piece of shit. You belong in the fire with Toy Story 3, the incinerator. You deserve to get sucked out of the screen extractor from Monsters, Inc. Look at this loser cover. Even this poster's not even scary. Yeah, this poster looks so scary. This just looks like fucking Photoshop. And this poster is like, this is not even a scene in the movie. Like, this cover even tells you this movie's gonna be a piece of shit. So, and because it's in 3D, guess what? Everybody put your 3D glasses on, because this review is gonna be me wearing my 3D glasses. They can't fit. Get on there. Since I should have put these on anyway, but now we're putting them on. So yeah, because this is in 3D, I'm going to wear my 3D glasses for this epic rant. I don't need to say who I am, because you already know who I am for this. So let's just jump onto the review, because we're already 2 minutes in. This is obviously going to be an epic rant for the final fucking destination. Yeah, the final destination fucking 4. The day when the series lost its energy. Yes, we had a better 5th one, but the damage was already done because it didn't do well at the box office, despite the better reviews. But what is the plot of this one? Well, this one is now set on a speedway. They're watching a car race at McKinley Speedway. Nick O'Bannon has a premonition of a car crash that will result in many casualties and several people that are in the audience. So Nick convinces his girlfriend, along with his friends, to leave. A security guard, along with a racist, a mother and her 2 sons, and several other people follow Nick out. And shortly after they leave, because this is Final Destination, because they got lazy at this rate, the premonition comes true. Survivors start dying in lazy ways because the writers ran out of ideas, they stopped giving a fuck. This was made for the money, so they couldn't come up with any creative deaths. But Nick, his friends, and George have to try to find the remaining survivors and save them from death before it's too late. Obviously, the racist is the first one to go. So yeah, as for my reaction, I'm on the same board as everybody else. This film is fucking dog shit. It's dog shit found in a dumpster fire. It's dog shit pulled out and burned in a fire. in the incinerator. It's embarrassing to watch this wreck. It's one of the worst fucking horror films ever made in general. Like, yeah, let's bring the director who directed the second film that I was not a fan of. Yeah, it's a fan favorite with people, but a director that, may he rest in peace, but a lot of his filmography wasn't even that memorable. The one good movie this guy did was Snakes on a Plane, and that was it. That was the only good movie he ever did. And of course, guess what? Because I'm now wearing 3D glasses, this movie was in 3D! Because, get it? 3D was becoming so grand and popular and successful with people this year, all thanks to fucking Avatar. Yeah, it's one of the many things I don't like about Avatar. It causes every fucking thing to be in 3D. That's one of the many problems I have with Avatar. It caused 3D to get milked to death, and it was a big annoying problem for the 2010s. And now the sequel is causing it to likely happen again. Because of that hype film, everything needed to be in 3D nearly every time within the 2010s. In fact, back then, this was when it was becoming really annoying. Everything, great thing, not every damn thing needs to be in 3D. Seriously. It's again, so hence that's why it made so much money. It's how was this made? Well, after the success of the third one, obviously a fourth film was in development, and this one was planned to be in 3D. Originally 3 was going to be 3D, but they chose not to do that. And back when 3 came out, 3D wasn't that popular. Like it is nowadays. The script somehow impressed producer Greg Perry, New Line Cinema, to greenlight this for their fourth film. James Wan was on board to direct, but because of scheduling conflicts and because Black Xmas 2006 was not a success with people or the box office, he dropped out. And studio executives opted for David R. Ellis to return because of his work on Final Destination 2, and he accepted because of the 3D. Filming then began in March 2008 and ended late May in the same year. Then after the film was shot and advertised, the Final Destination was released theatrically in 3D on August 28, 2009. By Warner Bros. New Line Cinema, because New Line Cinema's contract with Alliance died after Golden Compass bombed. And of course, because it's in 3D, this became the highest grossing Final Destination film. And that's sad how the worst one is literally the one that made the most money. And I don't know why. I'm surprised this even made any money. This should have made nothing. I'm so surprised about that. But if there's one good thing about this making money, it led to a much better film afterwards. But that's another review. Everything in this film just could have gone wrong, and it did. It's got horrible pacing. You got cringeworthy, weak dialogue in this film, "Before I die, I'm gonna go have sex," or just every one of the characters is pretty much a scumbag in the film. Terrible music and some awful acting in the series. The series has never been known for great acting, but wow, is this some of the worst performances of the franchise I ever saw. And it got bad special effects, you have these constant cutaway CGI images whenever he's having any premonitions, and they look fucking gross, and they look fucking horrible. You have unimagined death scenes that it's as if this literally feels like death scenes you'd find in a Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner cartoon, or literally a South Park episode involving Kenny. These feel like a bunch of Kenny deaths they took out of a South Park episode, to the point where this just doesn't even feel like Final Destination. This feels like a fucking parody of it. And this film tries to take itself seriously, and the whole thing just comes off as stupid. Holy shit, and it has none of the originality or suspense that the first and third films had, and it's hard to believe it's even part of this series, with all the horrible acting, holy hell, it's every actor just did not give a fuck about being in this film, whenever each actor says their lines, or says such stupid lines, their chemistry just sucks. Especially Nick and Laurie's chemistry sucks, these characters, they fail to give the audience any reason to care for their characters. Whenever you see Nick on screen, he has the same confused, expression, he literally has the same face throughout the entire fucking film. He has no emotion in his performance whatsoever. Laurie, they don't have good chemistry with one another. In fact, these friends, these four main characters have such horrible fucking chemistry with one another. Wow, these characters these were some of the worst characters I have seen in a Final Destination film. This was the first time where I didn't give a rat's ass about either of these four. I wanted all these four to die off, and they all do die at the end, but I wanted these four to die as soon as the film starts. No premonition or anything. I wanted these four to not make it out of their premonition and actually all die as soon as you first meet them. Because basically, they bully one another. They barely act like they give a fuck about one another. The worst one is easily Janet. Easily Janet and the friend Hunt. They're easily the two I wanted to die the most. Because those two are the most insufferable of the game. Like, and the deaths you get here, they're not scary. They're unrealistic. They're like, holy hell, like, and I thought the second film's death scenes were happening because of stupidity. The death scenes in this movie are even worse. There's barely any thought like the first one, like, the racist guy, like, somehow his car just starts off from fucking air, and it just and somehow sets fire by fucking air. There's no suspense. And with the hair salon, like, somehow these deaths happen from fucking air. Somehow air just wind blows in, and somehow these deaths happen because of some fucking wind. Because of that. Right there, and like, yeah. The story was pretty much rushed, and it didn't even make the most sense, with the characters being all not even great at all. Like, somehow when... Like, seriously, there's a time when... Near the end of the movie, when the two main characters, they go to a mall, and then to watch a film at the mall, as if everything's just fine again. But you know everything's not going to be fine, because it's still Final Destination, like... Right there. And of course, because they had to pad out the runtime, they needed to make some 80-minute movie. Like, seriously, this feels way too damn short. And too rushed all over the place. Like, and you see Death just moving things into place to arrange someone's murder, but all the other times it's just subtle. Unless you're pretty much being shown, but this movie, like, it's obvious when somebody's gonna fucking die. At this rate. Because guess what? They ran out of ideas. They stopped giving a fuck. By the time this movie came out, people, like, they just lost any ideas at this rate. They couldn't come up with anything creative anymore. They just needed, hey, this film, Final 3 made money. We need another one. How are we going to do it? I don't know. Maybe this truck death will be great. Maybe a hair salon death will be great. Maybe a pool death will be great. But haven't we seen these deaths before? How are we going to make people go see this? How are we going to make the money off this one this time if this is the fourth one? And fourth movies and horror franchises is where they lose their ideas. I know. How about we make it in 3D so it can be more expensive? And that way we'll still make more money despite this film, if this film gets hate or not. Ha ha! Yeah. Isn't it so fucking obvious? They just wanted more money. They just only care about the money at this rate. You know, like, seriously. And also, like, when the scene, the very ending scene with the fire at the mall, how does nobody smell this shit? This is a mall that looks like 1,000 people are in there. And, like, especially in the cinema area, in the construction, like, how the fuck... This whole area is poorly set up. Like, how the fuck does nobody smell a fire on the other side? Are people that dumb? Are literally the characters of this movie that dumb? Maybe if I was in a movie theater and if I smelled something burning from the other side, I'd probably run out right away and actually evacuate the fucking place before shit could happen. Hell, like, staff would actually notice this. Staff would notice this and they would shut the movie off, they'd tell everybody to leave, and they would evacuate and they would give people courtesy passes when they could come back when the problem is fixed. That's what they do. They don't fucking ignore it and say, everything's fine. I don't smell anything. Like, people would fucking notice. People are actually fucking smart. So how do we even start this train wreck? Well, we basically start off this train wreck with our lead characters. They're watching a NASCAR race. Our new lead character, Nick, his girlfriend, Lori, and they have their two friends, Hunt and Janet, and McKinley Speedway for their spring break, pretty much. And pretty much, like, you already hate these characters the minute you meet them, because Hunt's like, I come here to watch people get in a crash and stuff. Or whenever Nick sits on a clearly old bench and it breaks, like, you gotta lay off the fun food. Or... and stuff, and of course he illegally sneaks in whiskey with these binoculars, and somehow they're not caught and kicked out and stuff. And Janet's all like, why did we pick this over seeing some bullshit movie called Lovelace Dying? Yeah, that sounds like a bullshit movie. I'll get to later. But, yeah, so you already have 4 assholes that I don't give a rat's ass about and already waiting for these guys to die. The first time this is the first one in a series where I'm just waiting for all the leads to die in the premonition or die getting run over by a bus. All 4 of them. As soon as I meet them. And that's not a good thing for this series. I want to at least like some of the characters in a Final Destination film. And even, I didn't like a single character in this movie. Even the ones that weren't assholes, they weren't even that interesting either because they just came off as blander morons. That's right. So Nick suffers a premonition from the racetrack that sends debris to the grandstand, and the front stretch to collapse. Then Nick panics, and so a scuffle breaks out, and they leave the stadium. The ones who leave are Laurie Hunt Janet, this racist truck driver, this mother and her 2 kids, this mechanic, his girlfriend, and a security guard. And Nadia berates the group, and then a strange wheel flies out of the stadium and decapitates her, so she's the first one to die. And you know what? But being about a race car track, if this was about a race car track, and NASCAR crashes happen in real life, and drivers have either been injured or died from them. So, having been set in a NASCAR track actually could have made this the scariest entry of the series. They could have really did that. Right there. This actually could have been the most frightening film of the franchise if you're going to be about a NASCAR area. Because NASCAR crashes actually happen, and they're actually very life-threatening. And they really do happen. With life-lasting injuries. So this actually could have been terrifying. But no. Because they got too lazy, and they wanted to just be 82 minutes to get it done right away, and didn't want to put any effort into it, and rushed it so they could get the 3D done, so they could force people to pay more money to watch it, so they could make all the profits it did not deserve to make. Honestly, but as soon as you meet these characters, if the film would have been better if they all just died in the racing track and it ended there. Because in the previous movies, there was one character in the second film I could connect with, and that was Burke. And the 1 and 3, I could connect with the characters. Even the characters in 5, I could connect with. And you wish them well in their pursuit to cheat death, but you know they're not going to win because it's Final Destination. They always got to end the same way. That's one of the problems. That's one of the problems I have with the franchise. They always have the same endings. They don't try to let anybody live. The closest you get to that is 2. And every time the characters in this one die, I'm relieved. Because easily, I don't like any of these characters, and I want this movie to end. The acting in this one just feels so B-movie Hallmark-like, and the script, how the hell did a script get fucking approved? New Line Cinema was yeah, that's perfect. Let's make this a movie. This is a great script. So lines like, I come here to see a crash, or before I die, I'm going to go have sex in the pool, or why did we pick this over seeing the movie, or any of the racist guys' lines, or them just celebrating early. How the fuck was this approved? I'm surprised. Another thing, this was a budget of $40 million. How the fuck does this even look like $40 million? This does not look a thing at all like $40 million. And why is that? Because they had to put in all the 3D? Because they had to pay all the actors to go to a fucking NASCAR race? Or do they have to pay fucking NASCAR budget fees to be able to include them in the movie? Is that why it's $40 million? This literally looks like $5 million. It's hard to get into the spirit of the movie when the characters are poorly rendered and unlikable. You're supposed to want them to evade death. But no, this one, you just want them all to die because they're pretty much assholes. All of them. Even Nick and Laurie are just kind of boring leads that you don't give a fuck about because they have no chemistry with one another. Their facial expressions are always, every time, they basically barely look like they want to be in the film. There's little the imagination of any of the first and third films. Like, the situations are now repetitive, and they just rip off other movies. Or, like, it's like you're watching a game or something from Milton Bradley. And, of course, like, running at only, like, 80 minutes long, it barely even feels like a movie. At all. It's just a classic example of we just stopped giving a fuck at this rate. After he made like surprisingly 3 successful films, because 2 is a fan favorite, so I'll count it as that. They package up this shit, because this is pretty much the rate where, this is the problem with every 4th entry to horror series. It's where they run out of ideas at this rate. And this is one pretty much prime example. So, after our titles that literally happened right after the crash, Daniel then pretty much, after the memorial, they go there, but Janet and Hunt don't want to go, but Janet clearly, for being freaked out, but Hunt just doesn't want to go because he basically doesn't give a fuck about anybody but himself. And he's a piece of shit friend. And a piece of shit boyfriend too, because he basically cheats on his girlfriend at the pool. They go to the memorial. The racist guy shows up to the guard like, I'm mad, you got my wife killed, I wanted to go back in and save her. Well, guess what, dude? It's actually your fucking fault for telling her to stay there in the first place. Yeah, because basically he tells her to stay there, and then he suddenly realizes the truck's about to go off, and then suddenly gets worried about her. I'm surprised. Like, you basically told her to stay there, dude. You're not any more innocent in this. The guard was doing his job. And honestly, this guard's a pretty terrible guard, because somehow he pretty much let us fine with these, actually somehow quickly bonds with these two, even when they're sneaking into the crash site. So yeah, the racist guy tries to burn a cross on the guard's lawn, right there, because he acts like he's innocent, because he thinks it's his fault his wife died, it's only his. But then death causes fucking air to knock off a horse hoof, hanging from this radio, and radio just randomly plays on, why can't we be friends, because the air just suddenly could kill people in this. And his truck starts to drive by itself, and lets a tow chain loose. The racist guy tries to stop it, but his foot gets hooked and he gets set on fire for some weird reason. Like, fire just randomly shows up. That's weird. Huh? That's so weird. How the hell did fire just magically show up by a bunch of fucking wind? And then the next day, the mom is the next one to die because she goes to a beauty salon, pretty much sends her kids off to with some distraction things. And then once her hair's done, they come back. Somehow, liquid is pretty much spilt on the floor, and then the fan just falls down on the ground. And somehow, they slip on that, and the fan falls down, and the kids are clearly blamed for it, despite the fact that your kids weren't there. Your kids were off doing things. Why would they be responsible for a bunch of liquid falling on the floor? The liquid falling on the floor was the staff not even paying attention to any of their dumb shit. And how would they knock off a fucking fan? How would they even reach a ceiling to rip off a fan? Makes no sense, but a lawnmower, because they threw a rock near a lawnmower sign earlier. The rock gets propelled by the lawnmower and shot through her eye from long distance, killing her. And God, this is one of the dumbest deaths of the series. Like, when the rock hits her eye, she falls to the ground, and her face is this. Literally looks like she's fucking smiling. Yeah, she looks like she's fucking smiling. This is why I often consider this one of the worst fucking deaths of the series, an example of when the film crew is sleepwalking when writing the deaths. Because they clearly didn't want to make this film, and it clearly fucking showed. So they learned of their deaths, and similar disasters parallel to the Speedways. Nick becomes convinced that death is after them, so he and Laurie return to the Speedway with George's help to find the next survivor. He's like, you're sneaking on private property. It was like, we need to help figure out these deaths. Okay, I'll join you guys. What? No. If you're a security guard, you apprehend them. Shouldn't you apprehend them if you're still a security guard guarding an area, so shouldn't you still apprehend them? Because they're still sneaking on property? But then a dioxide tank, they go to find the mechanic, but a carbon dioxide tank kills him straight away, so he's gone. And then Nick predicts that Hunt and Janet's deaths are going to involve water, so George and Laurie find the ladders. One of them is trapped in a malfunctioning car wash. and they manage to rescue her, but while Hunt's off pretty much cheating on his girlfriend, and even being an asshole to the woman he's using to cheat on her, by playing on his phone during a sex operation. Oh yeah, another thing. Another one of the worst things about this film, this somehow thought, yeah, we totally need a sex scene in this movie. Why? Yeah, Final Destination 3 had nudity, but for like one scene. And that was for the tanning bed deaths. That was the one time there was nudity. That was not a sex scene. Hell, maybe some sexual dialogue in some of the films, but the series was never known for having sex. So, yeah, that's a huge disservice. We don't come to these movies to see sex scenes. We come to these movies to see some deaths and stuff and some premonitions. Some clear premonitions here. We don't come here to watch boobies. We don't come here to watch sex. So that's another problem this film fucking has. This is Final Destination. This is not Friday the 13th. Right? Different story. Friday the 13th, at least the sex scenes make sense. Here, this is just random, has nothing to do with the movie. Right there. And it does not belong in something like Final Destination. So yeah, this kid sprays Hunt with a gun. He takes the gun away from the kid in anger because he wrecked his phone. But instead of like throwing the gun outside the fence, he puts it right where the pool controls are. And it starts to drain the pool. Like, seriously, if you're going to get rid of the gun, just put it over the fence. Instead, just put it in the fence or hide it in a bush. Wouldn't that be smarter? But he puts it where the pool controls are and sets drain mode on. But then a golf club hits his stupid lucky coin that he has throughout the thing that he never stops using. So he dives into the pool, but it's already gone down the drain, so it should be gone by then. But the pool sucks. But the pool, he gets stuck to the drain and pretty much organs are being sucked out of his ass. And so he just magically explodes in the pool. So he's dead. Well, at least one of these four assholes is dead. At the very least. But whatever, man. It's such a dumb... These are such shitty deaths, man. Like, these are not horrifying or shocking. And they're just silly, like... especially with the shitty 3D effects, like, this literally feels like a Looney Tunes cartoon. It feels like you're watching a Roadrunner skit with these death scenes. Right there, like, so, and death's list of victims are just people you don't care about, or people you want to see die. And, like, of course, like, as soon as the movie starts off, so you have pretty much typical D-movie characters. You got the cute couple, you got the jerk, you got the snob, all of them here. You even got a racist, a criminal, a mother, a cowboy, and a guy mourning his past, that even they're not interesting to watch either. Not even the guard is even interesting to watch, because he has a performance of a wooden door. And the first premonition are all ridiculous fatalities as well. Like, one bouncing tire knocks a girl's head clean off for some weird reason. The racist wife is literally chopped in two by some random object. Two kids trample over this girl who turns over time to get crushed by some fucking mortar. And a bunch of parts of the cars just fly past the fence somehow for some weird reason. An engine stalls as soon as it kills her. Like, this makes no sense. And none of this would happen. Half of this stuff would not happen in real life. Wow. And yeah, Final Destination's a movie series. Not everything would happen in real life. But this is where it just gets silly. And the process occurs when then the gang realizes that more premonitions are come for the shitty CGI images, and it can be prevented, but the usual responses get heard. If somebody would tell you that you're about to die in a NASCAR catastrophe and saving your life, wouldn't you listen? But apparently, maybe not when you're wearing a bunch of 3D glasses to see a bunch of shitty CGI images. They have one character try to kill himself, but that even doesn't work either. But the first situation of the racetrack are just a bad sign for the rest of the movie. And a racetrack actually could have made this great, but the way they handled this and the way they execute the premonition, you don't get that? No. Fuck that. We don't care about being realistic. We just care about making a sweet money for the 3D. The 3D in your face. Yeah, see this 3D? Isn't it so great? You see a snake coming at you. You see a bunch of blood. You see a bunch of blood from a pool coming at your face. Isn't that so awesome? Don't you want to see a 3D? No! Again with the fucking 3D. Yeah, the oversaturated 3D is why people don't fucking like 3D. God. I just want to watch a horror film. I don't want 3D being shoved in my fucking face. And such shitty images, too. So after they think, Nick and Lori, after they save Janet, they think, hey, we cheated death. Hey, guard, we just cheated death. And so they celebrate with champagne, and once again, you have a cork, you have like literally a top of the cork with the wine bottle being thrown in your face in fucking 3D, because it needs to be freaking 3D. And then, of course, they think it's all over, but the movie's not even fucking over yet, and I wish it was. I just want this is like so short, I don't really want this fucking movie to end here, but no, it's Final Destination, so you know it's not over just yet. Because it's 4 days later when Nick realizes a news report from another spectator was rescued after the speedway's collapse. And Jonathan apparently dies under a premonition or being asked to move seats, but it never ended up happening because Nick intervened, so Nick and George track Jonathan down to the hospital where he's recovering from the accident, and then they witness him being crushed by a flowing bathtub falling for the ceiling because guess what? This doctor is trying to put this old man in a bathtub, but then some nurse just shows up, hey, we need you right now, and I mean right now. Is this hospital fucking stupid? You don't leave a tub fucking running. You don't just leave an old man hanging there so that the whole... and just ignore his cries for fucking help. Wow. Even the hospital people are fucking stupid in this movie. Wow, is everybody in this movie a fucking dumbass with a brain IQ of 0? I'm pretty sure you're supposed to stay with the patient and put them in the tub before going anywhere. Like, literally, if this happened in real life, they'd get fucking fired. Who the fuck runs this hospital? Wow. It's fucking idiotic, hilariously fucking bad. Just wow. Yeah, let's just leave this tub fucking running and not turn it fucking off. Give me a fucking break. Fucking idiot. Such idiot hospital. But whatever. The bathtub falls through the ceiling, and so they pretty much now just kill the patient. So they leave, and Nick receives a premonition of explosion at the mall, and it will lead to Janet Lori's deaths watching a shitty-looking film called Lovelace Dying. It even sounds like a shitty title. That just looks like a shitty film in general. And even Nick is right about that. Lovelace Dying sounds like a chick flick. Yeah, that also, no, not a chick flick. That sounds like a shitty flick. Because that's a shitty title. So he fails to save George, who gets run over by an ambulance before Nick can even warn him. So Nick runs back to the mall to stop the explosion before it occurs. Because he saw that in a premonition, but he gets to the mall, he runs to this other theater that's playing the same movie, and they're like, shut up, get the fuck, dude, shut the fuck up. And like, so he realizes they're not there, and so he pretty much then finds his other theaters being built, and this is, or even the theater staff are even stupid here, because apparently, I think you'd smell a fire on the other side, and you probably should be running out of the theater, not staying to watch the film and blow up. And he gets pinned to the wall by a nail gun, but he stops the fire by literally putting a fire to sprinklers, and that just stops it. Before it could spread to some barrels, and so everyone is saved, but somehow they don't notice any of this shit. And basically, Nick basically broke into private property. And he would be seen, and he would still go to jail. Because he trespassed onto a construction site, which is illegal. And he didn't get noticed, but somehow he doesn't get arrested, even though may have stopped deaths, but he'd still have to go to prison because he basically broke onto property. He basically trespassed a movie theater without even paying for a ticket. He basically now wrecked the construction site now of building more screens, so he probably have to take even longer and the theater probably has to spend more money to repair them again. So he's probably going to put this mall and theater out of fucking business. Congratulations. This movie just fails on all points, from all the acting, the cliche scripting. Like, those aren't even the worst traits. There's a whole bunch of worse fucking traits I've already mentioned. Like, there's just no science behind this whatsoever. From the time it starts to end, like, this is a film I'm just laughing at how shitty this is done. And not just shocked or wowed at any of the deaths. You have to cut away to all these stupid CGI images that predict all the deaths as well. And the death scenes are just void of fucking reality. And, like, seriously, like, every time I watch this film, I just fucking facepalm at whoever the fuck planned this, and I actually thought this was a great script. Like, seriously, like, who wrote this? Some ninth grade punks? Who just randomly heard of the series, like, hey, let's come together and why don't we make our Final Destination? We can make a better movie than these. So you have a horrible script, horrible acting, horrible characters, horrible deaths, horrible CGI, shit runtime because they just wanted to get the fucking movie done and didn't care about making a good film. They just rush it right away, put no effort so they could just get the 3D in there right away. In a movie that does not even look the fuck like $40 million. This literally looks like direct-to-video quality. It's probably only $40 million because of the damn 3D they had to add and probably all the NASCAR shit they had to put in there. They probably had to pay NASCAR to let them do that, to let them put them in this movie or something. Yeah. And yeah, like, you can tell there's CGI. And that's a problem. And that's a problem I have with 3D horror films. They always gotta have such shit CGI. And too much CGI, it always looks fake. Like, this happened with Saw 3D. This happened with Piranha 3D. I like the movie I'm wearing right here. And even this 3D was clearly CGI'd a lot of times. Texas Chainsaw 3D even suffers this fucking problem. It has a number of fucking problems. Why that film is such a fucking embarrassment. It's not just the 3D, it's a lot of other things on why that movie is shit. Oh my god, like, it's on the level of some bad sci-fi channel movies with shoddy production values that are atrocious. You get pointless violence and you don't care because they don't care anymore. And I hated all the characters. This was the first time I want characters in a Final Destination movie to die, and all of them got what they deserved. So that leads us to the finale, where 2 weeks later, Nick, Laura, and Jenna are at a cafe, they're celebrating. Nick has this lousy Frappuccino drink that even he thinks is fucking disgusting. That drink even looks like fucking death. And during their conversation, Nick then sees more omens, a lucid theory. The chain of events happened to speed with disaster. And they just led us where death would needed to strike. So maybe we didn't do anything. And they realize this, and some truck, we don't see the driver in his truck. Some truck just magically just shows up like, and some construction thing that's not even well screwed on tight at all. And somehow this truck just, like, who's even driving this truck? Does some guy, like, drunk or something? Some guy, like, getting drunk or smoking driving this thing and just not paying fucking attention? Or it's just fucking error driving this fucking thing or something? But then this truck just comes in, it crashed in the cafe, and all 3 of them die. The end. That's where it fucking ends. He gets more shitty x-ray vision, and the movie's fucking over. Thank fucking God. This is basically now, the series isn't known for happy endings. I know that. But the way this film is done, it's basically a fuck you to the viewers this time around. It's like, how do we end this? Oh shit, I forgot about right at ending. Let's have a random truck just randomly ran to the coffee shop and kill the assholes. Okay, yes, let's write that in there. Like, how the fuck is a truck just driving into a coffee shop? Is this guy, like, looking at porno magazines or something, or smoking weed or something, or just sleeping, or trying to Squidward laugh, going just laughing at some unfunny joke or something as he's driving and not paying attention to the fucking road? We never know. Even Squidward would laugh at how idiotic this fucking scene is, with his nose deflating every time he laughs, like even he would find this fucking idiotic. Well, do we now have any good qualities? Film-wise? No. I don't have a single good quality with this embarrassment. if there was even one I can even think of, is that at least all these people died, all these characters died at the end of this film, because I disliked all of them. All of them had no common sense. They're badly written. They're honestly assholes. All these deaths, these are deaths though that can be avoided, but they don't because these victims ain't fucking smart, and some of the people that cause these deaths don't even look where they're fucking going. Or they're just driven by fucking air for some weird reason. Somehow wind can suddenly cause all this stuff. And it's only like 80 minutes long, but maybe that's a good thing because if this was longer, it'd probably be even fucking worse. So yeah. FT4, as it should just be called because it's really Final 4, and it was not even the final movie because they made another one after this, even though that's technically not a sequel, but more on that in the next review. But it might as well just be called 4, because they still did a 5th after this, because clearly how bad this movie was. So yeah. The Final Destination should be called the Horseshit Destination. So in the end, you don't even need to see this trash because this does not deserve to be called Final Destination at all. It barely feels like Final Destination at all. And in fact, you could just skip this fucking film and just go straight to 5. Just skip right to 5 after you finish watching 3. Just skip to the 5th one and just pretend that is called the Final Destination instead. Because you don't need to watch this film at all. You don't even need to see this film to understand it, so you can skip this altogether. Anyways, that's it for my epic rant on Final Destination 4. If you're running hungry in Final Destination 4, here's how I'm going to rank this movie. So overall, if you love Final Destination, please just skip this chapter and go straight to Final Destination 5 because this is not even Final Destination at all and exists for shitty effects, characters, acting, and 3D visuals to rip off many people's money. And if you're running hungry in Final Destination 4, I'm going to give Final Destination 4 a 0 out of 10. Alright, there we go, guys. Time to take these 3 glasses off and put them back in my shitty DVD. Thankfully, though, at least we can now watch a good movie. Because now that this review's finally done, we can finally watch a good Final Destination. One that's actually not shit. And one that thankfully sent the series out on a better note. Yeah! My second favorite one is finally going to be watched tonight. And I'm excited to revisit this one. Why didn't we just have this in the first place? That would have been better. No. That should have been the 4th one instead. But more on that in the next review, because I gotta end this now. This is like 43 minutes now. So that'll be it for this epic rant. Thank you all for watching. If you like this and want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to Don G. Corleone.